Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Hello and welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thanks for joining us on today's program. And let me start things off by giving you our contact information so you can get in touch with me if you need to know or need to let me know what's going on in your community or in your neck of the woods. Just send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. Fairs, festivals, special events, things that are going on with your nonprofit group or organization or your social group or things like that. Let me know what's happening in the community by sending me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. Now, I also want to know about the interesting people who live in your community. Maybe you know someone who's a writer, an artist, a musician. Maybe they just have an odd or an interesting hobby, and you think they'd be a great guest for the program. Those are exactly the kind of folks we are looking for. So send me their information as well to the email address, cbrady@tv24.tv. And while you're online, check out the website, tv24.tv, and on-demand section there where you can watch TV24 programs that you may have missed on the air, like East Alabama Today. Maybe you missed a show. Maybe you want to go back and review some information that you saw on a show. You can do that. Just go to tv24.tv, go to the on-demand section, click on East Alabama Today, and there you'll see a whole series of shows over the past several weeks that you can watch right there on your computer. And go back and check them out anytime you like. Today is part 2 of a 2-part show about disaster assistance with FEMA and the Small Business Administration. We'll have that coming up in just a moment, so stay with us. And welcome back into East Alabama Today. Our guests are Nate Custer with FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and Beverlyn McDonald from the U.S. Small Business Administration. And it's part 2. We had so much to talk about from last week's show that we needed to continue and talk some more about disaster assistance in areas that have been declared a disaster, presidential disaster declaration area. There are 9 counties in Alabama that fall under that designation from the storms that came through the area between April 28th and May 2nd, 3rd, around in that time frame. We had a tornado that came through Etowah County in the Sardis area and into the Smith Institute community. Several homes destroyed there, lots of damage in those communities. And in the immediate aftermath, Federal Emergency Management Agency and SBA officials show up and start working on disaster relief as quickly as possible. Now, we've talked about disaster relief for homeowners and for their homes and for personal property and things like that. And one of the things that we didn't get to talk about was for nonprofit organizations. You guys provide money and low interest loans for nonprofits as well, because when the initial response from the community hits, nonprofits are right in the middle of that.
Exactly.
So United Way agencies, soup kitchens, people providing food and shelter in the immediate aftermath of the storm. And they have tons of expenses in doing that, and you guys can provide assistance with that as well.
Right. When it comes to your private nonprofit organizations, such as your rehab centers, your soup kitchens, your libraries, your schools, different things like that, basically SBA will provide you a loan for a 2.6% interest rate in order to assist you in actually recovering and getting back on your feet, to put your organization together as a whole once again. And we actually ask that whether you're a for-profit business or nonprofit business or a private nonprofit business, we ask that you please register with FEMA. Everyone, no matter if you have insurance or not, business interruption insurance or not, insurance on the building or not, insurance on the furniture and fixtures, whatever. just register with FEMA. We need you in the system. So therefore, any other assistance, such as other charitable organizations, they will all respond, and we need you in the system, so therefore we can provide you with everything that you need.
And Carl, there's only a few weeks left in order to do that, to register with FEMA. The deadline is July 1st. So people, whether they had very minor damage or more on the major nature of things, need to call 1-800-621-3362 or go online at disasterassistance.gov. All you have to do is give some basic information. Your name, confirm that the residence where it happened is your primary residence. Mm-hmm. We do not provide help for damage on secondary or vacation homes. Right. Your social security number, very importantly, a means of contact. Some people have to move out of their homes. They may be living with friends or family. The reason we need that contact information is within days after you register, a FEMA inspector is going to call you, and he or she will make an appointment to come out and look at just what happened. But the registration deadline is July 1st. Don't get caught missing that deadline.
And I think the important point that we've made about the deadline and going ahead and signing up is you may be several weeks down the road before you realize that you should have signed up, or you're going to need some help. Maybe there is a gap to fill between your actual value of your home and property and what insurance is going to cover, and you weren't expecting it. You thought everything was going to be okay, so you didn't sign up. Now the deadline is passed and you're stuck.
Exactly.
And if you go ahead and sign up, you're not obligating yourself to accept any aid or to accept an SBA loan or to do that, but you're making it possible to get it once you decide whether you need it or not.
It doesn't cost you anything to sign up. It keeps your options open. And like Beverlyn has said, there could be hidden damage, or your insurance could come up short. Things can happen that you may not be aware of immediately. That's why we do have a 60-day period for people to register. But it can't go on indefinitely. People need to make that decision. Go ahead and get in the system.
And one of the things you mentioned with needing contact information is you may have to move out of your home. And that's something we wanted to talk about as well, is the assistance that is provided for temporary housing. If your house is completely destroyed or even damaged to the point that it's not safe to go in and live in for the first few weeks, where are you going to stay? What are you going to do if you don't have a relative down the street that you can stay with or in a close by town? You got to have some help doing that too.
True. If your insurance has what they say loss of use on your declaration page, if there's loss of use, then you will be provided through your insurance company for some place to stay. Other than that, if you do not have insurance, then that's where FEMA comes in and will actually give you a voucher or what have you in order for you to get some place to stay.
Temporary housing assistance, Carl, is a big part of what we do because of, as Beverly just said, people that can't stay where they normally stay, where their home or their apartment is damaged beyond it being safe or having even a roof over their heads. So we provide temporary housing assistance. The preferred method is rental housing. We'll try to help people find some rental housing and put them in that. Otherwise, it could be in a hotel that we can provide the temporary housing assistance. And then another benefit of registering and getting the inspection is that FEMA can provide grants up to $32,400 for home repairs to make the home safe, secure, and functional, to get you back on your feet, not to make you whole again necessarily if you had some real major damage, but to get hopefully to a point where you can get back in the home and then maybe stay there while further repairs are underway. And to get that assistance, you need to register. Now, I mentioned $32,400. Most of the grants do not approach that level. In most cases, something lesser than that can take care of the home and getting the roof fixed or getting the walls fixed.
Yeah, and if FEMA comes up short, Then you have SBA.
Then the SBA can step in at that point.
Because SBA will assist you in becoming whole again. It's what we call the new norm. Okay? We will help you actually complete all of your projects and all of your repairs or replacements and make you whole again.
Now, what's the time frame on that? Because everybody who's ever gotten a loan to build a home or to buy a home, it takes weeks, sometimes months, and jumping through hoop after hoop after hoop, and you get to closing and then they change something on you. You're not going to go through that kind of stuff with SBA,
no,
right?
No, we don't. Basically, right now, we have a 21-day turnaround. Okay, so you complete the application and submit all your documentation, and the loan officer will call you in a matter of days, and they will go over it because first of all, the inspector has come out, and your actual damages have been assessed. And the loan officer will put a monetary value to your actual damages. And then once that's done, then the loan officer will call the applicant and then they will discuss it. And at that time, let's say they were going to give you a $25,000 loan. And you say, oh, I don't think I need that much. We will tell you, take what you need, use what you need, and what you don't need, cancel the balance or send it back, and we will reduce your loan by that amount in a simple loan modification, which only takes a couple of days.
Right.
See, the thing is due to the fact that this is a disaster-related loan, we know that time is of essence.
Right.
So therefore, we have staff that this is all they do. It's not a bank. We have staff that do just this, loans to help people actually get back on their feet. Loans that help people actually repair and replace so that they can become whole again.
And speaking of the time frame there, as we tape this today, we're exactly a month post-storm, and already $14 million has been approved in federal money to come into the state of Alabama for assistance. That's $14 million that's not coming out of somebody's personal pocket, their personal income, to repair their home. That's a huge amount of assistance.
Those are FEMA grants for non-insured losses. We don't give any grants for something that your insurance coverage is going to take care of.
No double dipping.
Right.
No double dipping is a good way to put it. But it's money to fix the roof, to fix the walls, to fix some of the heating, ventilating, air conditioning system. Even if you have a driveway that is blocked, we can consider some funds to try to get that driveway, the means of access to your property, to be considered. And it's there regardless of whether it's very minor damage or more in the area of catastrophic damage. There's another thing we say, Carl, that insurance is your best line of defense. But even if you have insurance, go ahead and register. Call 1-800-621-3362 or go to disasterassistance.gov and get in the system and do that by July 1st.
Now, Beverly, you had another phone number you wanted to mention as well for hearing impaired.
Right, the hearing impaired is 1-800-877-8338. Okay, basically it's for the hearing and sight impaired. We have, just like we have translators for different languages, we also have a TTY designated line. Okay, our regular number is 1-800-659-2955. And a lot of times, if you do not have the TTY line, you can call our regular customer service line, and the customer service line will connect you with a TTY relay operator. We have everything. Just get in the system.
Absolutely.
And when you call the FEMA number to register, there are different language speakers there. For the Hispanic folks or whatever your normal language is, we can handle that and get someone on the line with you and take down the information and get you registered.
We have multiple bilingual customer service representatives.
Right.
So there is no excuse why you did not register.
Absolutely. Now let's take a quick commercial break. and come back in just a moment with some more information on disaster assistance with FEMA and SBA as we continue with East Alabama Today. We'll be back in a moment. And welcome back into East Alabama Today. We're continuing our discussion about federal disaster assistance, how you can get involved with that. If you were in one of the 9 counties that was part of the presidential disaster declaration from the storms that occurred April 28th and through May the 2nd or 3rd, through that time frame. We have Nate from FEMA and Beverlyn from the SBA, the Small Business Administration. And Nate, sometimes when you apply for FEMA assistance, there may be a denial. There may be, maybe you don't get approved for as much as you think you should get. So there is an appeals process, basically.
That's right, Carl. We're at the stage now where some people inevitably are going to receive what we call denial letters, saying that we cannot approve your application, and it may list some reasons, and maybe some legal language in there that's a little hard for you to gather in what it's all about. That's a point where you ought to call the 800 number, 1-800-621-3362. You're registered, so you already have a 9-digit number, and then they will look up your file. That letter that you got is not necessarily the end of the road. It may be because some information is missing. Perhaps your insurance has not settled yet. It could be for a variety of reasons. Mm-hmm. But call FEMA and get some information, more information from them on just why you got the letter. You
don't have to just accept that letter and say, oh, well, we tried and go off and forget about it. You can continue the process.
You can continue the process, and you have the right of appeal. Mm-hmm. Within 60 days from the date of the letter you received, you can file an appeal. You can call the 800 number, and they will guide you as to how to send that letter in, who to contact. Mm-hmm. There's also disaster legal assistance available for people who have a hard time from a legal standpoint. Maybe there's a question of whether they actually own the home or can't find the deed, or it was lost in the storm. Mm-hmm. Lots of things like that. Keep track of your registration, especially if you do get one of those letters. Don't give up. It is not the end of the road necessarily.
You know, that's something that I had not thought of, but if your home is destroyed, right, most of your paperwork is destroyed as well, or scattered over 3 states by the tornado. Right. So that's something to think about as well. How do you prove that you own the home if some of your paperwork is destroyed?
Your tax papers, if the tax assessor's office has not been destroyed, the tax assessor's office would have this information, so you would be able to get information from the tax assessor's office. But like Nate said, in most of the DRCs, the disaster recovery centers, there is a legal service person in the disaster recovery center that can actually help you, whether it's getting new birth certificates, social security cards, what have you. The legal services person is there to assist you with that.
Let's talk about fraud prevention a little bit. In all throughout these cases, we've talked about FEMA inspectors who are going to come to your house. You're going to have insurance inspectors who come to your house. Local EMA inspectors and government officials are going to come to your house. SBA officials are going to come to your house. How do you make sure that the people who are coming to your house are legitimately who they say they are, especially with your organizations? What should we ask for?
Well, they will have an identification tag. I'll pull this one out of the pocket right now. For FEMA, one of these with a picture on it and FEMA identification. SBA is something similar. No one from FEMA goes around soliciting money. We're in the business of distributing some money to help people. Right. We don't gather in contributions. Now, some of the volunteer agencies may do that, but make sure that it is a legitimate person with identification. And if you have any doubt or suspicions or what may be going on in your neighborhood, report that to law enforcement.
Exactly, your local sheriff. Anybody that actually knocks on your door and says they're from a particular organization should have ID. If you have any questions in regards to whether or not this person actually works for the agency, there's the FEMA number and then there's the SBA number, 1-800-659-2955. You can call and ask, and the operator will find whether or not that person actually works for the organization.
And it's important to vet your contractors as well. Not, in times of disaster, even though there are a lot of laws that are intended to go into place and to prevent these kind of things, there are unscrupulous people who go in and take advantage of people who are suffering from these disasters and are affected by these disasters. So you gotta make sure you know who you're dealing with when your contractors come in too.
You do. When you come to SBA for your closing, okay, where you finally get to the last part, where you actually receive the money to do your repairs or your replacements, the SBA loan closer will very politely tell you, before you actually hire a contractor, make sure you agree with the terms and conditions in the contract that the contractor has written up, as well as make sure you check his license, make sure he's bonded, and make sure he's insured. Licensed, bonded, and insured contractor. And we say, if you don't know, call a Better Business Bureau or call your state agency for licensing contractors, okay? If that does not do, there's always the State Insurance Commission. Call them. They will be able to confirm or deny whether or not this person is legal and upstanding, vendor in the community. You need a good, reputable contractor.
Hey, Carl,
and this does not cost.
It doesn't cost.
It does not cost to actually pick up the phone or good old-fashioned, old-school yellow pages. Go online. Use the library. Go to the library and look this person up. Okay, before you sign a contract, before you give this person money. Because remember, if it's the SBA loan, you have to pay it back. So if this guy takes your check and walks off, you're without the money and you still got the loan. Okay? So use your local resources. Use your Better Business Bureau. Use your local legal services, legal aid. Use the library. Use everything you possibly can. Before you sign your name, make sure that this is a good endeavor.
One of the first ones you're going to potentially encounter are tree removal. People coming in, they may descend on an area from out of state, from hundreds of miles away, and the immediate thing is you got trees in your driveway. You got a tree that maybe didn't fall but is threatening to fall on your roof, and you need to deal with that. But make sure that these tree removal companies meet all those things that Beverly just said about licensed, bonded, and insured.
We need to take another commercial break, so we'll do that and be back with a quick wrap up in just a moment. So stay with us. Well, our final couple of minutes with you here on East Alabama today, talking about disaster assistance with FEMA and the SBA. And Nate, we just can't say it often enough. It's important to register by the deadline of July 1st.
Do it by calling 1-800-621-3362 or going online at disasterassistance.gov. Whether your tornado or flooding damage, whatever, was minor or all the way up to catastrophic, get in the system, register with FEMA.
Absolutely.
Yes, and for SBA, it's 1-800-659-2955 or www.sba.gov. Please call someone.
Get in the system, get registered so that you can get the help that you need if you were affected by the disasters. Folks, thanks for joining us here on East Alabama today, and we'll see you again next time.